Yo, 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 we are live. We are live. How's everyone doing? We are live. Um, New setup. New setup. My wife was like, hey, I want a new, uh, I want a new dining room table. And I want a new desk. So she said, you can have the old dining room table and I'll get a new one. So I said, okay. So I figured I'd move around the room and I currently like this. So before we bring on our guest, I say this every episode. I paid $9 for this freaking software, so we have to play the music. And after that, we're gonna bring on our guest. So if you're watching, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat how you're doing. Here we go. Drone talk. All right, boom. All right, we are live. I'm turning my fan off. It's so freaking hot. All right, let's just do this. Let's just get into this. All right, let me add him to the stream. Frank, how you doing?
Hi. Tired. I could go to
Tired.
sleep in a second.
Yeah, we both like everyone as someone asked me like Tyler, you keep pushing your show used to start at like 9 p.m. and then it's 9:20 and then it's 9:30. Now you've been doing it at 9:40. I'm like, yeah, my kid keeps like having to go to bed later and later. So that's what I gotta do.
Bedtime. Bedtime is rough in the Martin household.
Is it how many kids do you have again?
3?
Do they fight you? Do they fight you about it?
Yeah, they do. We give them like kids melatonin, so it helps knock them out a little bit. But yeah, they're a rowdy bunch.
Do you do it every night? The melatonin every night?
For the most part, yeah. I don't think you're supposed to do it for prolonged periods of time.
Uh huh.
I have to take it too. I'm one of these people that can't go to bed right away.
Mm-hmm.
I'll toss and turn for an hour before I fall asleep. So taking good melatonin is like knocks me out.
There you go. All right, let's see. Let's check out the chat. We got Paul in here. Make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Absolutely. We got Zion Comics. What's up, Tyler? Oh, we're gonna have a silly goose time tonight. What's going on? We are gonna grill. We're grilling Frank. I've got
He marinated me all day, and now he's throw me on the.
I've got some good questions. I think. Unlucky Jack, how you doing? Allison McGlone in the house, how you doing? Ichthus, what is up? Total excellence. And the Zion Comics says, do not get them hooked on that stuff.
We're all right. We're total drug addicts in my house.
My kid has been taking Tylenol, or I don't know if it's Tylenol. No, acetaminophen. I don't know. We just call it his purple. My wife just says, hey,
give him that purple.
And then we've been giving that to him for like a month and a half, and finally I was like, do you think that we probably shouldn't give this to him every night? Because like this is like pain medication.
It's for fevers and stuff.
Yeah, and he's been teething.
Oh well, you got to give him the ice cubes and stuff.
He won't do it. He's a butthead.
He won't do it.
Yeah, like he'll only.
He's gonna walk up to your wife one day and be like, "Yo, mom, hook me up with that perp."
Exactly. Oh man. Okay, you're a little frozen right now, Frank. You're frozen, but we can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. You're back now.
Yeah, I think I'm getting bad internet.
That's the worst.
I'm gonna try changing my network.
All right, you do that. While you do that, hey, I'll let you do that.
Song and entertain everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna remove you from the stream, and then I'm gonna do some announcements, and then we'll bring you back. Okay, there we go. All right, so hello everyone. I'm gonna show you guys some cool stuff. I want to show you some cool stuff for the 7 people who are watching. I'm only gonna show you guys this. All right, so check this out. So as you guys know, we've been pushing the patreon.com/drawandtalk. Starting at $2 a month, you can read. You're going to be able to read The Girl with the Mega Fists and other comics starting at $2 a month. Now, this is the cool part. Like, if you are just listening to this, like, look at your screen now. Look at your screen now. As part of your membership on Patreon, you're going to have access to this website. It's a website that I've created. It's a private website. It's mobile friendly. And what you can do is you'll have access. Hopefully we'll have more comics to upload, but you'll have access to, you'll go in here and you go, okay, I want to read My Life is RPG. So you click on My Life is RPG and then you go, okay, there's one issue. So you click on the one issue, you hit okay. And then it loads. And then boom. Now you can read My Life is RPG on your phone, on your web browser. And then once if you're like, what, I don't want to read My Life is RPG anymore. I want to read a different comic. That's cool. You want to go to the girl with the mega fist, you go here, and then you hit, we have 2 chapters available. Well, but that'll be updated every 2 weeks. Hey, I want to read Demons. There's every issue right there. You click on it, it'll take you to the comic book page. And so that's for Patreons only. So go check out patreon.com/JohnTalk. It starts at $2. $2 will give you access to that part of the site, and then $5 will get you the physical books for the ongoing. Ichthus is saying, proud Patreon member. No, I appreciate that a lot. Calvary Collective saying, My Life is RPG was so good. No, I appreciate that. Allison, I want the program that makes it look like a book. Yeah, you let me know. I'll tell you. I paid some dough for that. Also, I'll let you know. Dude, I paid some money for that. All right, I think Frank's back. There you go. How you doing?
Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. I keep drawing. I keep freaking using a straw, and it just keeps making noise. So, Drew Down Art, how you doing? All right. So, guys, we have an awesome show. Planned. I got some questions I want to, grill Frank on. It's not really even grilling. I just think they're really important questions that I think we need to start asking ourselves. But first off, Frank has a Kickstarter. This is something to do with one of our questions, but a couple months ago you came out with The Last Homicide, which I don't know if you watched my YouTube video, but I reviewed it in like 2 seconds. I don't know if you saw that video.
No,
I was sick, and I go, I literally, this is what happened. I'm laying on my couch, and I go, I've had diarrhea for 3 days.
I saw that video. You shouted me out.
and I said, so I've been reading my friend's comic 5 out of 5, and then it was so quick. But before that, you had the Polar Paradox #1, and now we're at issue #2, and it's a 2-part series. So this is the perfect time, guys. If you didn't get issue #1, you can now get the complete story. So, Frank, if you want to pitch, tell us, what is the Polar Paradox? And after this, we're going to grill you.
All right. The Polar Paradox premise is very simple. It takes place in the near future. A bunch of scientists are charting a cave system under Antarctica, and they go missing. So a group of elite rescue divers going after them, and they kind of face danger. There's adventure. They uncover a mystery, and it's a lot of fun. And this is a 2-part, I'm calling it a story arc now, because we're going to have a sequel after this. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I got to highlight this comment real quick. This is from Scott Wilson. Says, hey, Frank, got my package a couple days ago. I read all the books. Wow, great writing.
Thank you.
It was funny. It's me and Scott, and we're in like a group chat with like one other creator, and he just goes, guys, I just got Frank Martin's comics. I read the Macabre Motel. What the fuck? And I was like, I know.
I love that react. That's the only reaction I get to that book. What the fuck?
I enjoy it. I think that's one of my favorite ones that you've done. I really liked the Last Homicide.
Well, let's hope I stick the landing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's a good question. Do you ever fear that your ending isn't going to be good enough?
I mean, that's the whole ball game with everything, isn't it? Do you ever think that by the time this is over, people are going to go, I like that?
I feel like it's a common trope with stories that people don't like the endings. Like, did you finish Gotham? Did you finally finish Gotham? What did you think of the ending? Did you like it?
I thought it was suitable, is the word I would use. Suitable. It wasn't like I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I was like, okay, because you
Mhm.
know what, the last season was kind of broke. I wasn't a big fan of the last season, but the last episode kind of it saved it a little bit. I thought it tied
I
it in
agree.
kind of well.
I agree. Yeah, I felt like the last season, I could tell that they're like, hey, we're canceling you guys, so wrap this up. And they're like, okay.
You know what? I'm not a big fan of that No Man's Land storyline to begin with. Like, I didn't like that they did it in The Dark Knight Rises. I thought that was
Hmm.
it's kind of, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it. So there's a movie called Adaptation. You familiar with it?
Mm-mm.
It's a Charlie Kaufman movie. I think his name is Charlie Kaufman, and he the premise is that he's a screenwriter, and he was in real life he's a screenwriter, and he was tasked with adapting a book, and he's like, I couldn't do this. He's like, I had no way of adapting this. It was a hard time, so instead he wrote a book about himself adapting the book,
Oh, interesting.
or he wrote a movie about it. And there's a line in the movie that they say, wow them in the end and nothing else matters. So that pretty much says you could have a terrible story 90% of the way. If the final 10% of it is good, that's all people are going to remember. So there's something to be said about having a good ending.
Yeah, I can, there's a manga that I binged. I binged in a whole week, 180 issues in a 1 week. I was reading it till like 2 a.m. My wife be like, go to bed. I'm like, okay. And it's called The Promised Neverland. It had just the strongest first arc, like praiseworthy. Everyone loved the first arc, and then it kind of got a little bonkers, and it got even more bonkers, and it started like kind of going down. And then but then how it ended, it just like the last like probably 2 or 3 chapters blew my mind, and I just it made me forget like all like the did I really like that part? It totally made me forget all my qualms with it because I was like, oh, that was perfect ending. So I can see that. Wow, them. Here's a question. Here's a question. Someone asked me at work, and it took me a while to answer this. Do you have like a film that like is arguably terrible, even or like a series that's like it is terrible, but you love it? Do you have one of those?
Do I have stuff that's arguably terrible, but I love it?
Like this took me a while. Like I answered, I said the Fast and the Furious series.
I mean, it's I'm a big proponent of understanding the purpose of media, you know?
Ugh.
So you have to know what you're watching. Like I just watched Army of the Dead on Netflix last night,
Yeah.
and I understand the purpose of it. It's not supposed to be high art, you know? It's not supposed to win an Oscar for Best Picture.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be stupid zombie action fun with some laughs, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time. So I'm not going to rank it on like a top 10. I'm not going to say it was my super favorite.
But you enjoyed it.
But I knew what I was when I hit. I knew what
Uh-huh.
it was when I hit play. You know, if I sit down and I hit play on some slow melodrama, Oscar bait, and they don't do that, then I'm going to be like, you dropped the ball. I mean, I'm not going to expect to like sit there, popcorn flick, and laugh my ass off, and I'm going to expect to see high art. And if you don't do that, it's all a matter of what your purpose is. That's
Yeah,
why
like-
I love watching old movies in the context of the era that they were released. You know, because taking a movie out of context, it can really like twist what its purpose was. You know, it wasn't released in 2010; it was released in 1975. So you have to factor that in.
It's true because you can't like so you can't go like a Seth Rogen movie. Go, oh, that movie was stupid. Yeah, that was the point. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Pineapple Express is not supposed to make you think about the purpose of life. It's just,
yeah, or like, So I don't know if you guys have noticed. I had to like put my microphone down. So with this table I got, it's a little higher than my chair, my office chair. So I scooted it up. But I bought this used, so there's clearly something wrong because I've just been slowly this whole interview, just like going down. And then I don't want to like pull it back up, and I'm just gonna like go down. Vincenzo sees Tyler tonight. I want some answers. Oh, we're gonna get some answers out of Frank. Guys, go check out the Polar Paradox. This won't be the only time we talk about this throughout the show. But for $15, you do get part 1 and part 2 standard covers, plus the PDFs. I mean, that's just a killer deal. to get.
Yeah, I have a couple of those tiers where you could get both of them. I have a deluxe edition where it's one issue, but it's both stories in that wraparound cover. That's now perfectly on the page.
Oh, so like this is all just in one comic.
Yeah, so go up a little bit.
Yeah, which one is that? Because
No,
I might want that one.
Go up in the main story just a little bit. That's too high. So the whole image where it says part 1, part 2, yeah. So
here you go.
that's the part 1 cover. That's the part 2 cover. So if you get the standard covers, they connect, and the connect is the image that's below that, and that image I use as the full wraparound cover for the deluxe edition.
So that's this one right here.
Yeah, I think that's the $17 here. And then I if you don't like print media because you are evil and you just want the PDFs, I have that available for $10.
That's me, Frank. Like, I mostly buy digital at this point. I don't have any space.
You know what? I'm very torn because I like print. Like preferably, I like reading a book, but it's cheaper to buy digital, and you're not stuck with something that you have to do with it afterwards. That's why I love going to the library.
And then you just return it. Oh, well, am I getting shorter? I will say, like, also, like, there are some digital comics where I'll read it and then I'll go, okay, I have to have that, and it makes me like pick and choose like what I want. Master Panda says, but you're supposed to take old movies out of context, reinterpret it with today's sensibilities, and then get offended and tweet about it.
I sense sarcasm in that. But you know what? There's something to be said about that too. Taking a movie out of context and analyzing it through today's lens. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to hold it up on a pedestal like that, but you can still do stuff like that. Say, have a comment to say whether or not something withstood the test of time, and then watch it 20 years from now and do the same thing. So, just you have to take that with a grain of salt. That you can't. It's easy to judge the past based on today's priorities.
Yeah, Bill Burr has a joke, and he's talking about the Duck Dynasty guy and how he said something, I think, a little racist, and they're like, can you believe he said that? They're like, yeah, this old guy who lives in, like, the woods, like, he's 80 years old and he lives in the woods. I would have put my entire life savings on the fact that he would say something racist, and I'd make a ton of money. Like, what did you think he thought? And then he goes, like, I would have been surprised if he had said I could play the cello. That's what would have shocked me. But him saying something racist, like what did you think he thought? So yeah, it's
there's this great stand-up bit for Aziz Ansari. He was talking about the Hangover movie, the first Hangover movie, and there's a scene in it at the beginning of the movie where Bradley Cooper pulls up to Ed Helms' house and he honks the horn. He goes, "Paging Dr. Faggot."
Oh yeah.
And he's like, they buried that scene somewhere in the movie. It's in the trailer. It was like that was 10 years ago. Nobody would make that joke nowadays.
If that was in a trailer right now, they would like make sorry, we realized what we did was insensitive. We're doing some reshoots, and then Bradley would have to pull up his like little his podium, just be like, hold on, I'm sorry,
and it's Bradley Cooper. It's not some like controversial comedian.
Yeah, it was just Dude, I am getting shorter. You couldn't even see behind me, and now I'm. Like,
by the end of the stream, you're gonna be like, "No, guys, go back to Polar Paradox." And
all right, guys. So let's get to the questions that you guys are all wanting, because it says asking writer Frank Martin the hard questions about comics. Someone in the chat just went, "Is Tyler a transgender?" I'm not a transgender.
It's the shirt. It's definitely the shirt.
The receptionist at my work did say, Tyler, I owned a shirt that looked like that back in the 70s, and I went, awesome. Just awesome. No, but I am astro fluid. I'm astro gender fluid. Yeah. So I know a lot of people get to say that face, Frank, but I'm fluid in many genders, but also genders from outer space. So I have access to those.
Okay, alien genders.
By Tyler's attire, he was dancing at the Copacabana again. He has a trans shirt. Man, guys, okay, I'm never gonna wear this shirt again. I'm just gonna. All right. So okay. So I've got some questions. Some of them are about the indie community. Some of them about creators. I just want to know your thoughts on them. So one of them actually is because of a recent. I actually recorded a video in my car for Patreon people, and I gave like my thoughts kind of in a hardcore way, but I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. So I got a message from a creator. Just after going through his face.
No, next question.
He's like, I don't want to answer it. Next. Yeah, that shirt is giving me a stroke. Damn, I like this shirt. I looked at his Facebook, new creator putting out their first book. And I got a message from them, and they were like, hey, like, I'd love to come on your show. I'd love to come on your show and talk my comic. And I told him, I was like, well, actually, I was like, when do you want to do this? And they gave me a month, and I said, well, I'm actually planning on like not doing those live stream. Like, I'm planning on not doing stuff like this, Frank, very soon. Ending it. Not necessarily ending it, but kind of ending it.
Ending human contact.
Yeah, ending human contact. No, like I just have a new like different format that I'm going to start doing starting in July. Just trying out some new things. I always will do some live streams, but like in terms of like people I don't know, like Frank, I know you. We've been in the war zone of insane comics. Now we're here. Yeah. So like but like I don't know this person. I've never talked with them in my life. And then they added me just so they could, ask for a promotion. So I said, I don't plan on doing this anymore. So sorry, I'm not going to be, I can't host you. And they said, well, that's selfish. And I was like, okay, here we go. I've heard these comments before. I heard this. I've heard these sleeves. Yeah. I was like, I've heard these comments before. And it was because, they're like saying, people like you have a responsibility to give people to give smaller creators a platform. And I'm like, homie, like I'm also a smaller creator. Like I've only put out like 3 comics, and whatnot. And so I was like, sorry, I can't do it. And they're like, well, where do I go? And I went, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It's not my job to tell you where to go.
Yeah. I'm like, where do you go? And so I guess, but it made me think like, in 2018, 2019, a lot of comic book creators all of a sudden starting like YouTube channels, and everyone was live streaming, like just live stream. And now it's kind of like died down where a lot of creators aren't live streaming, and if they are, they're not pulling the views that they get. What would you be advice to an indie creator who's just like, crap, I've got nowhere to promote my comic. What the crap do I do?
I don't think that's true at all. I think there's tons of people. First off, there's tons of people that do podcasts. There's tons of people that do live streams. I'll talk to anybody about my comic and my work. There's something, the mindset you have to have is the other way around. Is that not, you don't owe the community anything. I owe everything to you to giving me your platform to talk about my work. That's just like not thinking like an asshole. You got to believe it. And this is a reoccurring theme that I'm seeing with a lot of streamers and podcasters that I'm talking to. And it doesn't get talked about enough, which is guest etiquette. Just how you act as a guest on someone else's show. And I spoke to somebody who did live streams once, and we talked about this on the stream a little bit, because streamers and podcasters are not stupid. They know that there is a Kickstarter circuit, that when you have a Kickstarter, you make the appearances on all the shows, and they'll start seeing, like, I got so-and-so booked for 2 weeks from now, and I go online and I see him on everybody's stream. Like, they know that you're eventually going to come on and start spitting the same BS that you've been doing to everybody else for the next 2 weeks. So it's like, how do you act? And the truth is, you act however your host wants you to act. If your host wants to talk about Pokemon cards, you talk about Pokemon cards. If your host wants to go on tangents, bashing people in the community, you kind of just, sit back and let them go on and do that. You don't have to
bash
join
people.
in.
You bash people with them.
But the point is that nobody is entitled to anybody else's platform. platform. And as a new creator, you might not feel that way because it's frustrating. But you and I both know we've been slapped around enough where you're just kind of humbled to the point where if anybody wants to talk to you about your work, you kind of just respect that and appreciate that. And look, I've toned down a little bit for this campaign. Like I'm only doing a couple live streams and a couple podcasts. But for the past 3 ones, starting with Macabre Motel, I did like, I don't know, 30 plus interviews. Like it was a lot. Like there was some, I was doing 3 a day sometimes. And they're out there. I was just, when I wasn't doing a campaign and I would see other people do an interview, I would just make a running list and I would just message them. And you got to be as polite and courteous as possible. And if they come back and say no, you ask them, well, is there a time that I could do it differently? Maybe I could ask you a couple months out. If do you not like this genre, you always try to make things work. But the last thing you want to do is say shame on you for not
and then
bringing me online and
now I'll go, oh, like maybe in the future that I could. Yeah, you really burnt that. I also wonder, like, there are some shows that I'd be like, hey, can I come on your show? And they're like, oh yeah, what do you got to promote? And I'll go, oh, nothing. I just want to come on.
Yeah, Tyler, we've spoken so much that when I come on and talk about my book, I'm like, I don't want to talk about my stupid comic with you. Let's just talk about something else.
Well, you even put on Facebook, I'm not going to be doing a lot of shows, and I commented, and I was like, bullcrap, like come on, like let's figure out a freaking time.
Because I don't consider this a show. I consider me just hanging out with Tyler.
Well, that's what I like. I'm hanging out with you. Like I'm sitting back. I'm normally like, and so, what do you think of this?
Yeah, you're the only show that I would come on and drink a beer with. I'm not doing that now, but I feel like with everyone else, I have to be sharp and on my game. Mm-hmm. But with Tyler, like, yeah, I could sound like an idiot. I don't really know.
Well, you were like, maybe I'll eat my dinner on camera. I was like, won't be the first time that you've eaten your dinner. I did it. In front of the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true. Guest etiquette. I mean, I remember I had dinner with Shay, Red Valkyrie. And she was like, Tyler, like I'm tired, and I went, what do you mean? She goes, like, I am booked almost like every week with like 3 shows on my channel for like the next 4 months, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you gotta maybe start saying no to people. She goes, yeah, but then I feel guilty, and I'm like, no, like
it's not your job. It's not this is supposed to be fun. You're talking about comic books. She also makes a good point too. I spoke to her is that when somebody reaches out to you that you don't know, your job is to provide an entertaining stream to your listeners or viewers. And when you bring a guest on you don't know, they can suck. You know, just as a guest, they could be very boring. They can like avoid eye contact, not know how to talk about their work. So at that point, they're taking a shot. When somebody brings somebody on for the first time, you don't really know, you're taking a shot that they're not gonna put people to sleep.
Yeah, you're really hoping that they're entertaining. I mean, yeah, I had a couple guests last year where I was just like, I will kill myself if we have to. I remember texting my wife, I gotta get out of here. Like kick the baby. Like tell me the baby's injured and we need to go to the hospital. Like, save me. Vincenzo C says, you got 2 responsibilities, Tyler, you and your family. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And then Tyler's drinking straight moonshine from a mason jar. Just water with Propel and ice. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, like guest etiquette isn't talked. Another thing is just like, so then I said to the person, I said, well, hey, how about, you you start your own show. I mean, this is just a computer, $100 webcam, and then $100 mic.
I've thought about it too, because I don't have enough to do, but
I know exactly with all.
It's fun, it is fun having I guess it's easy to say that when I don't actually do a live stream, but it seems like it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like I say this, I feel like live streaming is like the lazier of the content that you can make. Because it's so easy, you just bring on a guest, you hit record. It's not like you don't have to edit anything. You just talk.
Yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes you could tell when a host isn't prepared, and you send them material and they don't read it or they skimmed it, and they don't really have follow-up questions. Like a conversation has to happen naturally and organically, which it doesn't. It sometimes you just don't click with people. And it turns into a painful stream. And other times you do click, and you want to. You get to the point where you do so many of these that you kind of see people who you enjoy going back to, and just kind of fill up your schedule with them.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's just me all by my lonesome talking about my comic. These are the points where I can ask Tyler questions, and nope, can't hear you. I could ask him questions, and I'll just say, "Hey, Tyler, um, did you buy your shirts from a homeless person?" And if he doesn't respond, I could just say, "Okay, I guess that's true."
Oh man, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh man, yeah, it's not even a good mic because every time if I hit the cord accidentally, it freaking poops out like that. To Massive Panda, did Tyler get his IBS now?
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
tell Frank and go, hey Frank, I would just like message him privately and be like, hey, you gotta take over the show for the next 15 minutes. This is.
Oh, and then I would totally blow up your spot. Just let everybody know.
Oh yeah, but it's I always say I told Scary just start your own start your own podcast. It takes some time, it's hard build a following. I'm on TikTok, dude. I'm with the youngins now. I'm on the TikTok.
I can't stand TikTok. I was looking at Instagram Reels the other day. I mean, I don't really do that or look at them, and I'm just like, I don't think that this was the reason the internet was created.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm on TikTok right now, and in probably like 3 weeks I've gone like 500 followers.
It's nice. It's good.
Yeah, so I'm working my way up, but I mean my wife like came in my room once and I'm like doing weird stuff and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm dancing to a song and making a TikTok. What do you want? Like, what do you want? What do you want from me? Like, yeah." But yeah, it's just like I think creators at this point need to also figure out the other way. I think that if you're not going to make a show, if you're not going to make a podcast, I think you do something that you've done, which is you've put out consistent work, and that's snowballed over time.
Yeah, I try to stay engaged, and I feel like we always come back to Insane Comics, and I feel like that they dropped a huge opportunity they had so many books, but they released them all on one day of the month. Why would you do that? That made zero sense. They could have been the only indie company that was dropping a book every week.
Yeah.
And they just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why it was like, oh, here's our 5 books. This is like, no, like spread it out.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, but yeah, I
but
try
like
to.
But you've put out a lot since then.
I kind of have. I'm getting to the point now where I'm trying to get my campaigns to a point where I can just launch like 6 a year. I don't know if I could do that. But
that's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's right now my next one is going to be in August, and it's going to be my first one it's going to be 17 days. So right now I'm doing them for 22 days. So I got it to like a machine now where I can run them for 17 days, and I place my print order the day after it ends, and then I get the books in a week. I cram shipping them in a week, and then I give 5 weeks for the U.S. Postal Service to get them to where they're going, and then I launch again.
There you go. So like you've done 3 so far
this year, and I'm doing 2 more.
Dang, that's incredible. But that goes with I was talking to Nicholas Mueller. He does Demon Hunter Raven, and he's put out, I think he's had 2 Kickstarters. He's done 2 Kickstarters. I've done 3, and I canceled the 4th one. Smart move on my part. And but I think the bit a thing, and we're talking like we're always talking about numbers, like how do we hit readers, blah blah blah. And a big thing is just like ultimately it comes down to consistency. Like, can people see that you're always putting out stuff consistently? And would you say that you've had a snowball effect from the point, like from the moment that you've like the Polar Paradox? Have you seen the growth from that one to the second one?
Well, I would say Modern Godhood was the first one that showed me that I could consistently do this. Because for my other campaigns, I failed to hit 100 backers for kind of all of them. So that even though they funded and they were successful, I didn't really feel growth until I hit that one. And the first Polar Paradox was the only campaign I had that had the Project We Love badge, which I feel contributed to a lot of its success.
There we go.
Yeah. So I saw an uptick in the final 2 days. Like, I had steady growth for the campaign, and in the final 2 days it shot up a little bit. And I think that the Project We Love badge had a big effect on that. I'll see if the part 2 is going to have that uptick too, because it didn't get the Project We Love badge. But I'm on a higher trajectory than I was for part 1. So
and it goes to show like look that you put out like these 5 Kickstarters at first. I mean, this was like a whole bunch of other stuff. This was a compilation of all the other ones that you did with Insane Comics. And then you do 5 Kickstarters, and finally you get that one that pushes you over the edge. And then now it's a snowball, but you had to do these first 5 first.
I mean, I guess I did. I guess that's a good way of looking at it. We're in a weird industry that we could always look at other people and see their failures and see their successes and measure ourselves against them, which is the worst thing you could possibly do. But we do it anyway. You know what? I see people that run their second campaign and they're shooting to the moon, and it's kind of like, why did it take me a couple of campaigns to kind of start to see that growth? But you know what? I'm comfortable where I am now, and I'm happy where I am now, because I see people following me from campaign to campaign, even though I have completely different books, which is very encouraging. I put out a sci-fi book and a detective book and then a weird how creepy motel, and people keep coming back even though it's a completely different type of story. So
it goes to show that people are liking it for more than the story. They're liking you now. They're following you, and
I don't know why.
Whatever Frank Martin
I'm kind
makes,
of an idiot.
I'm there. No. We have a comment for you. Zion Comics says, Frank, I might have missed this. Are you the artist and writer for your books? How did you come up with the idea for the Polar Paradox? You got 2 questions in there.
I did get 2 questions there. I'm the writer and co-creator of the story. Antonio Mastria I did not hire Antonio. This is a collaboration. We met at a local con, and he said, I'm an artist, and I said, I'm a writer, and then we kind of shot ideas back and forth. I always, whenever I work with an artist in situations like that, I always ask them, what do you want to draw? And he said, I want to do sci-fi. So I came up with 3 pitches, and one of them was a pitch, was the Polar Paradox. And the idea for the story came from a National Geographic article that I read. I read National Geographic every single month, and one of the stories was literally the premise of the book. A bunch of scientists dive off the coast of Antarctica. They go to a cove that nobody had ever been to before, and they started snapping pictures of the wildlife. And basically, I just said, what if they go missing? And I took the story from there. So I like that when stories kind of just grow naturally. You don't have to kind of force it too much.
I like that. This $5 from Massive Panda. Thank you so much. Frank's got hella projects on Kickstarter. I don't know how you and Tyler put out so much content. Respect. Well, that's a good question. Let's talk about that. But first, we gotta do it, guys. Very pro Marvel video. Hire me. Hire me. But this is actually interesting. You know, Frank's got hella projects here. How I don't know how you and Tyler put out so much content. How do you put out so much content, Frank?
I don't know. I don't know.
But
I don't.
here's how long have you been doing this? Like when we met at Insane Comics, that was probably around 6 years ago.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I I don't know. I'm just always writing, and then always making comics. Just consistently do it. I don't know. I don't. So I hear people all the time talk about creative burnout. They're like, oh, I put in so much work in this book, and I'm getting burnt out. I need to take a break. I just don't really experience that. I don't know what that's like. I feel burnout from other stuff. I get burnout from my kids all the time. But yeah, I'm always writing something, and I'm always developing something. So right now, I have campaigns planned until like 2023.
Jeez.
So I don't know exactly what order they're going to go in, because I have some artists that are dragging their feet, and they're constantly shifting depending on landscape of the industry and stuff like that. But
do you okay, so this was something that I struggled with, and I've made a lot of changes, so I don't have to struggle with this. But like when I was putting out like Demons Volume 1, we were on Demons Volume 3. Like we were working. That's what we were working on, and then we were sitting on like James Insane Comics took Entity. And then when all that crap went off, I got my rights back, and so I was like, crap, what do I do with this? And so I held on to that book for 3.5 years, and so like I got so like gosh, like I want people to see what I'm doing like as of today. Like I want to, hey, I'm working on this, and then I want them to see today. And do you ever get that feeling of like, crap, I just made this, and people are gonna see it for another like 2 years?
kinda, but you know what? I think the idea is to have so many things in the fire that you never really get that feeling. You know what? I have so much stuff. I'm not like I'm working on one thing and then I finish and I work on something else. I have so much stuff going on all at the same time that it's just like I'm excited about this new thing that I get to show people that has been sitting on my computer for the last 3 years. So I mean, I'm writing scripts for stuff now that I have no idea how I'm ever going to produce it. You know, it's just, yeah. I told you I went running one day and I came up with an idea for one shot that I just had to get off my chest, and I instantly stopped everything else I was writing and wrote this thing in 2 weeks. And I want to make it, but I don't have an artist, and it's just whenever I get to it, I get to it. But I have other stuff that I'm kind of working on, and yeah, it's just it's a matter of having so much stuff that you can shuffle and rearrange. That if I reach delay on one book, it's not like that affects my release schedule because I got 5 others that can fill its place.
That's true. That's true. With Demons Volume 3, that was the one when we did that campaign. We hadn't. That was the only book we hadn't had finished yet. And so when we were done with the campaign, I was like, oh crap, I don't have this book finished yet. I really gotta get drawing right now. And so.
I mean, that's the other thing. I don't launch a book until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when I send people to review it, I'm sending them a full book. When I'm sending the printer proofs for Polar Paradox now, so that I can proof it
and make your order.
And then order. I'm actually doing something Burnout from Kids. Tell me about it.
And Nick's got 5 of them.
Oh, jeez. Why? My wife wanted 5 when we got together, and now she's like,
Stay back.
I need your advice now, because I'm doing something for Polar Paradox that I haven't done anything yet.
Oh gosh.
The day after it ends, I'm launching an Indiegogo for it. I have it all built.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't done one yet, so this will be my first.
And then is your minimum goal 500?
Yeah. That's kind of the idea. It's just set it at 500, and then I just know who gave me this advice. Sai from Red Valkyrie said, instead of just starting an Indiegogo, an on-demand store, slide it into on-demand after you hit your funding goal.
That's if you hit the funding goal. Is it flex? Is it going to be flex?
Well, it's 500, so it's not like I can make it any lower.
No, but you can do flexible funding where like
Yeah.
if let's say you hit 400, you'll still get the money, and then you can give
Really?
them the
Even
money.
if you don't hit 500?
Yeah, even if you don't hit your goal, you can just hit if you just have to make sure it says flexible funding, so that even if it doesn't hit the goal, you still get the money and you can still send it out to those people.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's what I would do.
I have no idea what I'm really going to do for it. I just kind of made it, and I'll share it. And
When I did chefs, I made a spreadsheet. You know, who we were talking about, like, oh, like how do you promote your book? I had a spreadsheet of people who I'd go to promote the Kickstarter, and then I had a spreadsheet of people who I'd go to promote the Indiegogo. Because some of them,
send that to me.
I can't. Yeah, I will. Some of them don't do it. Some of them don't do shows anymore. One of the guys was like, "Hey, let's just do the show tonight." And I'm like, "I'm doing my Kickstarter right now." He goes, "Oh no, my people will like it." And I went, "No, I'm pretty sure they won't. Like, they only back Indiegogos." And they go, "No, it'll be fine." So I went on the show, and the whole comment's like, "Screw this! I'm not backing this on Kickstarter." And I was just like. And then I was like, "Can I come back on the Indiegogo?" And he goes, "Oh, like I'm booked." And I'm like, "I hate you."
That's another thing that you need to do. When we talked about guest etiquette, is if you have a list that you made 6 months ago of podcasters and live streamers, don't just send them messages. Look them up first and see when the last time they made a show was. Do they even have guests on? Like, do a little bit of research on people before you just cold message them.
Yeah, one guy messaged me, I think, a couple weeks ago. He goes, "Hey, I'd love to come on and do your audio podcast." And I went, "Audio podcast? I went, what do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, like, your podcast. The podcast is, it's audio. You do those, right?" And I went, "I don't know. Do I? You're the one who's hitting me up. Do I do those?" And he's like, "Do you?" I went, "No, I don't." I don't. I do a YouTube show. I mean, I could maybe download and put the audio on iTunes, but it's too much work. But yeah, so yeah, exactly. Do your research. Massive Panda says, "Tyler, so true. I'm ready to release issue 5 of my comic, but the mindset of having just finished issue number 6. So now I have to fake this enthusiasm for releasing work that I did last year."
Actors do this all the time. They film movies and then they don't have anything to do with the movie while it's in editing and post-production, and then a year and a half later they have to go on press junkets. And
Poor Scarlett Johansson. She's just been waiting forever.
Yeah. I mean, they go and they film like 2 movies in the meantime, and then they have to go on Conan O'Brien and talk about a movie that they did a year and a half ago that they don't really remember.
I wonder if there's ever been an actor like, so like, what was it like being that character? And they're like, "I forgot."
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Do you know how many brain cells I killed since then?
Zion Comics says, "Frank, what keeps you motivated to continue?"
The fact that I would probably murder myself if I didn't.
My wife, one of a lady friend. She goes, "How come you like right now? My wife's doing our cabinets because she likes to do that stuff. She's very handy." And then one of her lady friends was like, how come, like, just Tyler will draw for like 2 hours a night, and you just let him do that? And she's like, she goes, he didn't do it for a week, and he almost killed everyone in the house.
It's true. It's true. So how they say sometimes alcoholics that when they get very angry, they need to go to their AA meeting, because they haven't been to a meeting in a while and they're getting antsy, and that's kind of how they relieve their alcoholism. Mm-hmm. If you are a writer and you haven't written all day, you get antsy. My wife would just be like, "You need to sit down and get time to yourself and write something out," because it's just 100%. You feel so much better because it's just you have that kind of like looming shadow over your head that you need to.
I was in Wisconsin to see my in-laws. We were there for a week and a half, and I was just like, I'm like, we're just sitting here watching TV. I am gonna kill myself. And my wife was like, "What?" And my wife could tell. She's like, he hasn't done anything like creative in like a couple days. And so she's like, "Hey, like, what can we do?" I was like, we need to go to Costco, and I'm gonna just drop $1,200 on an iPad, so I can draw while we're here. And she's like, okay.
Well, that's another answer to the question, how do I put out so much stuff? Is that my brain is always in writer mode. It's never not. So I never understand when I see creatives, especially comic book editors. I see this a lot. They're like, "Oh my god, I'm so exhausted. I put in a 13-hour day." I'm like, you count your hours? Like, what are you talking about? There are no hour days. There's just awake and asleep and writing in between.
Yeah.
There's no like set work hours.
Like you write on your phone is like you write on your phone
Constantly.
constantly. Yeah, I remember you were. Yeah.
So my wife and I were in Home Goods the other day, and she's shopping for stuff, and I'm like, "Yeah, take your time." And I'm on my phone writing.
I freaking hate that place.
But yeah, it's serious. I'm constantly stealing moments in the day to get words down. So and even if I'm not physically writing, I'm thinking about, okay, I need a pinup for this project, so I need to talk to the artist. This guy hasn't spoken to me in a while, and his colors are late, so I need to message him, or I need to figure out rewards for this Kickstarter campaign. I'm constantly in, I don't know what you would call it, work mode.
It's work mode though. It's. I was talking to I was talking to this. He's college. He's in college now, but he was like, Tyler, I have all these ideas, but then when it finally gets time for me to type them, I just can't do it. I went, oh, you mean you can't like work? Like that I was like, you can't do the hard part, which is working. And he's like, no, I'm really good at coming up with ideas. I can't sit down and type them. It's just so hard. I went, yeah, because that's the hard part is sitting down and putting those. I mean, I can thumbnail pages for days, and then when I finally like am trying to write the script, I'm like, all right, page 1, panel 1. Where do we go from here? And you just gotta sit down and do it.
You know what? I had a couple month period at the start of this year where I was just pounding out stuff, and I've hit a little bit of a block lately where I'm just like, can't do it. It's kind of difficult. Maybe it's just that transition, that time of year that school's ending for my kids. So I'm like, everything is chaotic. Once they get in camp, I'll have probably more time.
Uh-huh.
And that's why novels are so tricky, because they're just so many words. You gotta type all those words. So I feel like anybody who actually finishes a novel should kind of pat themselves on the back, because it takes a lot of dedication to sit down and stare at a computer screen for hours on end.
Yeah, like it's work. One thing that like, so like I have behind this computer screen, it's like it's 211 by 17 pages like taped together. It's like the business plan of Draw and Talk. And yeah, I've been pushing this Patreon the subscription, because one of the goals that we have, is I'm treating this like crowdfunding, where the money goals are to fund more books. So once we hit $500, I can hire Milana Ferris, to draw more books on a consistent basis. Once we get $3,000 a month, keep in mind Milana's 500 still in there. 3,000, I can then hire a colorist for chefs. And then this one, which, someone told me, they said, when I heard that you have a $6,000 a month goal, I started laughing, and I was like, okay, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to make this happen. But the $6,000 a month goal is so that I can hire like a writer or an artist, like to do like a separate book under the Draw and Talk like label. That's like, hey, I want you guys to make a book for my Patreon people and then public, and I can hire you, like I can pay you, like I can pay, like give you money to write something. So like that's a big goal of mine, and I always tell people. And then my final goal is I can quit my job, and keep in mind you have to take out all of the other money from there, so it's not that much. But I can quit my job, and so my wife's like, once you hit that dollar amount, you can quit your job. But it's about, for me, it's about like, if you want to see more books, go subscribe on Patreon, because that's how we're going to get more and more books made, and I think that's, a lot of creators, they're like, they, a lot of them, they struggle just to get, one book out. I mean, making one comic book is hard, but like my goal is to have I have it actually right. I have it right there. My goal is to have 4 comics, like one ongoing series that comes out every 2 weeks, 2 semi-annual comics, and then an annual graphic novel. That's like my goal, to be putting that much out.
Sounds solid. A lot of times, people don't understand when you're first starting out. It's so frustrating and it's hard to gain traction. But success breeds more success. That's stuff. It kind of snowballs when you have 1 book and then 2 books and 3 books, because the more books you put out, every chance it is to gain new readers, and it's every book that you have is a chance to offer that previous book on the next one. So it's just like after a while you get so much stuff to offer as an add-on, as part of the deal. It's just kind of you gain momentum after a while, so you just kind of have to keep at it, keep climbing that hill.
A lot of people, they'll look at like my friend Tim Lim, and they'll go, oh, like Common America just like was this random hit success, and Tim will be like, yeah, did you see like the campaign, did you see the webcomics that we made 10 years ago that failed, that no one read, and then we had to take down off the internet because we were so embarrassed? Or did you guys see the $1,000 campaign book that we did, or the 2,000 or the 4,000? And the one that we did before Common America barely hit its funding goal. Like it hit it on like the last hour. He's like, you guys, it didn't, this one didn't randomly like get big. We've been putting out books for like the last 10 years.
I hear people all the time. They said it took me 15 years to become an overnight success.
There you go. There you go. Oh man, poor kid.
Get that. He wants that purple, baby.
I know. I just want to like go on the camera and go give him the purple. Here's another question I got.
You have questions? I haven't even.
I know. Well, we've already hit like 3 of them. What are your thoughts? All right. What are your thoughts on indie comic beef, and why does it happen? Like, why do you like there are times where we see creators, they'll fight and they'll post on Facebook groups, or they'll make YouTube videos. Why do you think creators beef with each other? And how come we haven't beefed yet? How come we haven't fought?
Beefed yet?
Yeah, how come we haven't fought yet?
I don't know. I seem to always like avoid those. I never get.
Do you see them though?
I see them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I avoid. I try to. I'm out of them now. 100% now.
Sure you are, Tyler.
Well, I told myself this year, I was like, I'm not gonna be in any drama, and then I got pulled into some the last like 3 weeks. But why do you think that happens though? Why do you think people get into like fights?
I don't know. Egos. The whole internet drama thing I did in my 20s. I was on various online communities, and I got into, I wouldn't say beefs, but I was a lot more vocal in my opinions. And now, I don't know, I kind of just shut the fuck up, and I don't really run my mouth. And
I never understood. I'll see like some like, a writer saying like, this artist like screwed me over, and like I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that kind of beef. Maybe not do it publicly, but like if you need to do it publicly. I always like didn't understand, like would be like, oh, I can't believe Frank made this and I'm gonna fight Frank. It's like it'd be 2 creators who had nothing to do with each other, or projects that had nothing, like they weren't working on the same project.
I don't know. You know what they say, small town, big politics. So it's something about puffing out your chest and trying to prove you know what you're talking about. I have a lot of controversial opinions. I don't really share them all that often as far as when comics are concerned, because it's rarely productive on an internet forum.
Yeah.
Because you lack a lot of context and nuance with what you're talking about. It's hard to wrestle with these ideas and come
You can't
to
fit nuance in a 240 character tweet. You can't do that as a writer. Come on, Frank. We thought you were a good writer.
No, sometimes I get into. I really try to stay out of spats. I can't tell you how many times I've written out a Facebook comment and then just deleted the whole entire thing.
Well, that's good.
I do that a lot. And you know what? It has to do with a lot of shit that I just don't have time to get into arguments with people. I got comic books to make and kids to put to bed.
Well, I got into a disagreement, no names, and it took all day. I went to bed pissed because I was like, gosh, I spent 4 hours back and forth with this person. I was supposed to freaking draw a page, and
I've had those days too. They make you feel awful.
It's so unproductive.
Nothing is ever settled.
No one, and Master Panda says, do you think some of the comic beefs might be intentional or staged so they can keep attention on their channels or their work? Sometimes they seem so unnecessary for no reason at all.
I wouldn't say they're staged, but I would definitely think that people intentionally look for somebody to cause a problem with.
And they always do it right around they're about to have a campaign.
Maybe, yeah.
Like when I had that beef with Terrence, I was like, damn, I wish I had a Kickstarter going. I have 150 people watching this stream. I wish I had a comic book. I wish I had a Kickstarter.
Yo, this motherfucker right here. Check first. We need to check out my campaign before we get it.
He's trying to silence me. Support me because he's silencing me. Yeah, this is the comic that they didn't want us to promote in ICC, and they're like, yes, we're and then they back it because they're part of the revolution.
Oh, people love revolution.
I try to join a revolution this year. I try to join that Wall Street Bets GameStop revolution.
Oh, I stay out of that nonsense.
Yeah, smart. I lost $3,000. and I saw some video, and this guy was making fun of people who were like, you guys try to go against people who own oil. He's like, you went against people who own oil. He's like, you were gonna lose. And I was like, yeah. It was funny because I sold it, and then my dad, who does that stuff, messaged me. He goes, hey, AMC's at like 50. I hope you didn't sell. And I'm like, not only did I sell, but I sold at like a $3,000 loss. So I hate myself. I hate my life now. I could have made.
I read a book recently. It's called Money: The True Story of a Made-Up Thing, and it's just basically a nonfiction account of the history of money and what it means and the way it's evolved over time. And our entire this has nothing to do with comic books. We're kind of just ranting right now, but maybe we'll find some way to tie it into comic books. Is that economy, or I should just say economics, throughout history has been nothing but a series of trials and errors. Just trying to see something that works, and then it fails catastrophically, and people try to reinvent the system for preventing it from happening again until it fails catastrophically in another way. And it's just... So that's just all money is. So
that's interesting. Everyone's leaving. They're like, okay, what are they talking about? I'm out. Oh no, you muted yourself. Oh yeah, because you're chewing. Yeah, that's disgusting. Keep that muted. I'd love to know, guys. I'd love to know what you guys' thoughts are on this. I don't know if you saw this, Frank. This was what was hot on Twitter. It's called One Operation Joker, Volume 1. After Batman falls into a chemical vat, turning him into a baby, the Joker must raise him to be Batman. Witness his struggles as he raises a baby, and then so here's some of the art. It's a manga.
DC put it out?
Yeah, DC. So DC and Marvel have been licensing their stuff to Japan. It's like Deadpool is a really popular manga that they have, and then they have a Superman one going, and now they just released this Batman one, where Batman becomes a baby and Joker has to raise baby Batman.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Do they are they gonna translate it?
I hope so. I really hope so.
I have a confession to make that you'll probably gasp at.
I probably won't, but I'm ready.
I've never read a manga.
Really? That's okay.
No.
You know what I found? Like, cause I'm like getting into manga. Is I realized that I don't like the same manga that other people do. I'm just trying to.
I feel that way about comic books in general.
Do you?
I see people all the time praising books as like the greatest, the hottest new book, and I'm like, it wasn't that good.
Yeah, people told me about Sandman. They're like, every comic book, like, you have to have Sandman in your collection. So I got Sandman. It sucked. Like,
Well, which one did you read?
I bought the whole box set.
You read the whole thing?
No, I read volume 1 and I said, I hate this.
Yeah, well, you gotta keep going, bro.
My teacher told me once that, smoking's really good. You just have to get past the first 2 weeks of vomiting. And I was like, yeah, sign me up, man.
No, Sandman, I love Sandman. Sandman was great.
Okay.
I had a good time with it.
So I've read a lot of manga since. Not a lot, but I've read more, but this is the manga that I would give to every comic book reader who is like trying to get into manga is The Promised Neverland.
I know what it is. I don't know how to read it. Like, it's supposed to be backwards, but I never, like, are the panels backwards too?
No, it's just right to left.
It's right to left?
Yeah, that's not, no, well, we read left to right, but you just, like...
Yeah, so we read left to right, so it's...
Yeah, so you just... Let's grab a page. So you would just look at this panel, and you would start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, but is it the pages? So it would be like, it's like this.
Yeah, like there's a spine, and it shows you how to it's funny on manga. If you were to read it like an American would, that page says in all manga you're reading this book wrong. Like it says, "Oops, you're reading this wrong. You need to turn it over." And it has an instruction sheet. Manga is read right to left, and it shows you like how to do it.
They got tons of manga at the library. Maybe I'll pop my manga cherry.
Yeah, or you know what? There's an app.
Am I supposed to say that? Is that not politically correct?
You can say that. Well, who knows? Chat? Can he say pop his cherry? It depends. Are you fluid? I am. But aliens. But yeah, like this, because like everyone's like, oh, you gotta read this, and I'm like, I'll read them, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. But I read this one, and it was like a detective mystery / horror.
Okay.
And it was like a suspense thriller. And do you like to read things digitally?
I mean, I can.
The Shonen Jump app is $1.99 a month, and it gives you access to all their manga. Everything. And so I downloaded it, read it, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm only paying $2 a month. I might as well see what else they got.
Know what it also is? I'm always so intimidated because whenever I go in the library and I look at the manga section, it's like, we have 26 volumes of this series.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Is like this, I don't know how many volumes there are. Like, I don't know. Like, this is volume 15. But I cruised through it. I cruised through 180 chapters in a week. Granted, I read it digitally, so I had it on my phone, so I was reading it at any moment I could. But it was one complete story. That's what I loved about it. It was one complete story.
Well, that's one of the things I like about just banging out comics is that I like jumping around from story to story.
Mm-hmm.
I like finishing one and then moving on to the next. So to be dedicated to one thing for a week. I don't know. You know what I'm reading right now?
What are you reading right now?
The Shining.
Oh, how's that?
It's I don't know. I'm about 200 pages in, so.
I'm Mormon, and I was watching The Shining with my other friend who's Mormon, and I'm a little more just like yeah, I'll watch this. Like I don't care, but he was just once we were done with it, he goes, I don't have a good feeling about this movie. Like once we were done with it, and I went, well, you're the one that bought it, like, and he goes, there's darkness in this movie, I feel. And I went, we finished this. Like, yeah, it was dark. And he goes, I don't think we should watch this anymore. And then he like broke the DVD. And I was just like, okay.
That's dramatic.
And I was like, okay, I mean, you can do whatever you want. You bought this like 5 hours ago for us to watch. So like I don't care what you do with it.
I've never seen the movie, so I'm read the book and then I'll watch the movie. I was reading. I'm going on a little bit of a Stephen King journey because I feel like I haven't read enough of his.
Have you read it?
No, I have not read it.
That's intimidating. That thing's like that big.
That's on the list. I'll get to it eventually.
I liked the movie. I thought the movies were good.
The movie was good. Yeah, I saw the movies too.
Did you like the first and second one? Did you like the second one?
I thought the first one was better. Second one was okay.
I thought the first one was scarier, and I thought the second one had more. I like the emotional aspect. Like I cried in the second one.
I don't remember all that much. You know what it is? There's been a whole lot of 80s like stories that have taken place in the 80s. I'm seeing like a lot of that nostalgia. Like people are throwing a lot of stuff in there. We have Stranger Things, 8mm, the Transformers, Bumblebee was in the 80s. So people are kind of really jumping on that whole 80s vibe.
For sure. One thing I want to bring it back to like creating. My friend Tim Lim, he has this saying that people in Japan, they play on hard mode when they make their comics. Like, how do you tell a story about the Joker raising Batman? Like that's so. It's out there.
A little bit.
And like,
Japan is a different culture too.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, like you can tell a serious story like this in Japan. Like people would take it definitely serious. If you put this out in like for an American audience, it would be too goofy. You know, it wouldn't really. It would play differently. Yeah.
So do you think that like if DC were to announce this, like, hey, this is this new story, do you think Western fans would be like, this is so stupid? But in Japan, they're like, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. I wonder if that's like.
And you know what? But I think if it's made towards a Japanese audience, Americans would be more inclined to be open to it because they're expecting that kind of over the top.
I wonder if maybe it's not possible for like a Western professional DC writer to write a story like this. That like could they pull it off because of our culture? Like
maybe. I don't want to say no.
That's true. I don't want to say no.
Because I think I could do it.
But would you have come up with the initial idea? Like Mark Pellegrini, he said he did a tweet about this, and he said, you know, Joker has to raise Batman. As he learns more about Bruce Wayne, he realizes that the catalyst of Bruce Wayne is the fact that Bruce Wayne becomes Batman because his father dies, and so Joker makes it so that he has to die in order for Bruce to become Batman. It's like this emotional thing, and I was reading the tweet on the toilet, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a good story! Like, this is so good!" And like,
I think I loved coming up with crazy stuff like this. But you know what? In fairness, I saw Ninja Batman, the anime, the
that
DC
was ridiculous.
movie. I thought that was dumb. Stuff.
Okay, I'm with you on that because and maybe if I were to watch it again now that I'm more indoctrinated on manga, maybe I'll go, oh yeah, this was really good. But I remember watching that and being like, oh my gosh, like I invited a girl to watch this.
I was watching that and I was thinking, I can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, at first I was like, oh, the art style is really cool, and then it got to the end with like the monkeys, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is bad. I have like one of the series I want to do is this dude, and he's an assassin, but he wears a penguin costume.
This is you?
Yeah, this is me. I drew this.
This is your series?
Yeah. So this is something I want to do in the future.
You know what? That seems Japanese-esque. An assassin wearing a penguin outfit.
I mean, an assassin wearing a penguin outfit, and he's an interdimensional assassin, so he can like cross into different universes. I wrote it. I wrote like one scene, and the person's like, "So why can you do? Well, how come you're an Why are you an interdimensional assassin?" And he looks at like right at the reader and says, "Mostly for the crossovers." But yeah, this is one of those things where I was like, when Tim was like said that, I was like, "Oh, like can I make something goofy but serious? Like, can this be serious?" And yeah, can this be serious? I don't. I'd love to read it though and see. Like right now, DC has a Superman story, and Superman's like fighting bad guys while also his goal is to try out different restaurants in Japan. Like that's the story.
I think I saw that. Did you
Yeah,
post that?
I didn't. Someone else did.
I
Maybe
think I
Nicholas
saw that.
Mueller.
So
They're playing a different game.
there, there are.
But have you like I know you've probably heard me like talk about it, but like why do you think there's like this big resurgence of this big massive like sales? Like we see all those graphs, mangas outselling comics. Why do you think there's this popularity's happening?
I'm not the person to ask that question to.
Frank,
It's
we're here for we're here for the answers.
uh, I I don't know. I don't know these people that are reading these books, so I can't really tell you.
Hmm.
Is it older people? Or is it kids?
I think it's women.
You think it's women?
Women.
Who are these women?
Where are they?
Where are they?
I think it's young people and women. Like I think that's a market that Western comics struggle with is women and young people.
It's they have like instead of having book clubs, now they have manga clubs.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? In seventh grade, I had a manga club, and like there was a manga club I went to at the library, and I was with a bunch of high schoolers, and I was the only seventh grader there, and my mom was like, "Never go there again.
Is
Never."
that where you got that shirt?
I took it from the high schooler. I took it from the high schooler. I was like, "Hey, give me the shirt, noob, nerd." Yeah,
I
I don't know.
I don't know either. Comics, you know what? It's all weird because I'm in some Facebook groups and they're talking about Marvel and DC and they still love all the stuff that they put out. And then I'm in other Facebook groups and they say Marvel and DC are dying and I only buy indie stuff. So it's I guess it all matters on what bubble you're in and who you're talking to. Then you form your opinion based on that. So it's
Yeah, it was funny. Travis Gibb, he posted something and he goes, "This is why I love mainstream comics." Like he didn't say just comics. He said like mainstream. I could tell. He's like I'm sick of people putting down mainstream comics. So this is why I love mainstream comics.
I haven't been a fan of the popular books that they put out, the crossovers, the flagship books, but they put out stuff that isn't talked about as much that I'm having a blast with. I'm reading the Alien book that they're putting out now, Marvel,
Oh yeah, is that good?
and I like it. I like it. It's a lot of fun. So, and I'm an Alien fan. So, uh,
Are they
yeah,
doing it justice then?
I think so. It's weird because whenever you put out something with Alien, you can't follow the same formula. You know, you have to do Alien, but like different. So you whether or not that different twist you put on it is gonna sink or swim, you never know. And I think they put enough of a twist on it to make it entertaining.
I agree though. Like I don't read any of the flagship titles anymore, but there's like some image books I still read. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips are coming out with like their Reckless series. I've been enjoying those graphic novels. Trying to think of the last DC thing I read. I'm waiting for Sean Gordon Murphy to do his third White Knight book.
Well, he has a Harley Quinn spinoff for that. Is
Yeah,
that
I haven't
one
read that
shot?
yet. No, it was a mini series.
It was a mini.
Yeah. I'm waiting for his plot. He just finished Plot Holes. It was his Indiegogo. I want to read it digitally, but you have to have a password. And I'm like, gosh, do I have to put this password in every single time to read this? So that was that's kind of annoying. So I'm just gonna wait till I get my book. But yeah, like my thing right now, like going forward, is I don't want to complain about mainstream comics because they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But there are some good ones. You just have to find them.
No, there are. There are
Um,
100% good, great books.
yeah, or just and there's also a lot of great indie books.
There are a lot of
Like
great indie
there's
books
a
too.
lot of there's a lot of great indie books. One of the great good indie books that are happening that I'm gonna back for a great deal of $17 is the Polar Paradox. I'm gonna get the wraparound cover. Cause I think that's cool, and then it's just in one book.
Yeah, I have.
And you're doing a sequel,
I am doing a sequel, another two-parter,
so
because
it's
I'm
gonna
not.
end. Is it gonna end in a cliffhanger?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Damn it!
And you know what? It was always kind of ending on a cliffhanger, and I didn't know if we were doing a sequel. And then after the success of the first campaign, I convinced the artist to do the sequel. So we're moving forward with it.
There you go, so guys. So let's wrap this up. But tell everyone about the Polar Paradox one more time, guys. If you guys just want to trust my discretion, I'm going to be backing this book at the $17 tier. So if you don't want to hear the pitch, just back it right now at $17. But if you need to hear the pitch, Frank's going to give you the pitch for this.
No,
Awesome
I want
book.
to be an arrogant creator for a minute, and I'm just gonna. Yo, if you look at the picture, if you like the picture, check out the page, read it. I got all the information there. I'm not gonna pitch you the book, okay? Look, it tells you right there, right? Elite rescue divers continue their search for missing scientists in the cave system under Antarctica in part 2 of this 2-issue story arc. Done. I don't. What more is there to say?
What more do you need?
Yeah.
I got angry at a live stream. I got angry at the host because they had six. The whole. I'm getting shorter. How is this possible? I keep adjusting my camera. I got angry at the host because I'll just say it was Variant Grant. I wasn't angry at Variant. I wasn't angry at Variant. I wasn't angry at Variant, but I was angry at the creators on the show because the show title was like, we're bringing on new creators, and it's their new books. And I'll tell you, by the end of that stream, I didn't know what any of their books were about. They were just like, yeah, we got it covered by so and so, and there's a sexy girl, and for this, and look, we got magnets and we got stickers, and I'm like, tell me what, like, none of the 5 creators told me what their books were about. I was just told there was a cool cover and there's a magnet.
I see that with a lot of campaigns where they start off their Kickstarter page and it says who they are, the various covers that they have. They say that this is the issue 4, but they don't tell you what the story is. It's about Astro Man, and this is issue 4, and you can get the previous issues. We got covers by this person, but what's the story? That's everything. So my campaign page, it starts off right away with it. Hopefully, right there.
Oh, there's a cover. Oh, there's the cover.
Well, I show the
Frank.
cover. Please, come on. Yeah, Antarctica. I have a little copy, and then I say Fantastic Four: Lost in Space, and then I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
You do. You clearly do. But you do. You start off with the story, and you know what you're gonna get into. I mean, there are some times where I'll go like, how many pages is the book? I don't know.
I don't think I put that in there.
That's fine though, because I know the book's completed though. And you show like what I'm getting. Like, this is a very clean page. I never put these graphs here because I never trust the person.
Oh, that's complete bullshit, by the way. It's the same graph every single campaign.
Is it really?
Yeah. Well, the numbers are the same.
That's funny.
I have no problem telling people that because it doesn't. Because this is my 10th campaign. You know you're going to get the book. Just trust me. But you have to put it there because people, oh, look at him. He made a graph. He's so organized.
Yeah, so like right here, guys. Here's some art. Here's the bios. Here's a graph to look at. It's bullshit. Here's a video.
It is.
Oh, that's so funny. Specs asks, is the artwork hand drawn?
I think yeah, I think it is.
Oh man, that'd be cool if
I
you had
mean, it
like.
should be. I'm offering an inked page as a reward.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you have if it's an inked if these are traditionally inked, I hope that you have a traditional art tier.
Yeah, I do. It's like 400 some odd dollars. I think it is
There you go.
$400.
There you go. There you go. Guys, go check out the Polar Paradox. It's about elite rescue divers. It's about elite rescue divers who continue their search for missing scientists in a cave system under Antarctica. And it's a two-parter, and it finishes this first part of the series.
It does. The sequel will not take place in Antarctica.
Will it take place with the same characters?
Yes, it continues the story, but it will be
Oh.
in a new locale. And I've already hit my funding goal, but Daddy wants to go on vacation this month, so back to book.
There's that arrogant creator.
Yeah.
You could do what like EVS did. He didn't. He his book was like 3 years late, but he bought himself like a really nice house.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. He had a really good campaign.
I'm gonna
The
put
book's on it.
I'm gonna have a rewards here. I'm gonna send you pictures of myself at the beach in
That's
Bermuda.
funny. Someone on Indiegogo is saying like doing a campaign. It's like their writing shed. And if you help them fund it, your name will be engraved in their writing shed.
That's creepy.
That's weird.
It's super creepy.
Yeah, that's weird. But guys, it's nice to know that it's 100% funded. You know you're gonna get the book. I've gotten every single book that I've ever backed from Frank. In fact, Frank sends me the books. Frank sends me the books before they go on Kickstarter, and I still get them. Because I enjoy them that much.
I paid him to say that.
I want you to go on vacation. That's really what it comes down to. Is I don't take vacations, so I want you to take a vacation.
You know, it's actually I'm going away this week, and it's the first time my wife and I are going away without the kids
Wow,
for 2 nights since we've had children. So
this is a big deal.
it's a little bit of a big deal. Yeah.
That's a big deal.
We're
You know,
we're a terrible couple. We book we have a babysitter come over so that we're can like go out to dinner, and then we forget that we like asked the babysitter to come over, so we order dinner, and then she arrives and she's like, I'm here, and we're like, oops. We forgot.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So she's like, are you still gonna go out? Be like, we already ate, so we'll go upstairs and take a nap, watch the kids.
Oh, serious. It's just that's hilarious.
Yeah, we're not a good couple.
My wife and I have we've yet to like well, one, we haven't even gone on a vacation like together ever. Like we got married here in Utah, and then we did like a second wedding in Wisconsin the week after, and then my boss was like, "Hey, you gotta get back to work." And I'm
Your
like,
honeymoon was a second wedding.
yeah, it was like a second wedding, so it wasn't that we didn't have a honeymoon. So in July, in August, her parents are gonna come watch Grayson, and we're gonna go on a little road trip.
I don't know if anybody's watching this, but they're probably like, this is the dumbest comic book live stream I've ever seen.
These guys are talking about their wives and how they don't take vacations, and we don't take vacations, guys, because we need you guys to go get the Polar Paradox on Kickstarter. Like,
Yeah, this is actually one big elaborate ruse for me to take a vacation to Antarctica. So
there we go. Frank, where can people find you?
I don't know. Just
Everywhere.
it's on the screen at Frank the Writer on some social media. Search that on some social media websites, and you might find me.
There you go.
I was down.
Yeah, like you find me. Well, it's true. If you
Google Frank Martin writer, because if you Google Frank Martin comics, you'll get the colorist, and then you won't. And then I get that all the time. People tag me in his stuff. Be like, Frank, you were on Venom. Be like, no, I wasn't on Venom.
oh, that's so
why
funny.
I'm Frank
Yeah.
the writer. I'm not Frank the colorist.
Yeah, so you're either a basketball coach, a colorist that worked on my Marvel, or then we get to you.
Or the character from the Transporter.
There we go, Frank. And like your whole guys, if you just Google Frank Martin, he just comes up on everything. Even Penguin Random House. Wow.
Really? What's that? That's not me.
You're the author of more than 14 books.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't counted them recently.
Oh nope, that's the well. Yeah, there's some old Frank Martin dude, and then there's the colorist. Shame.
Yeah. Okay. There you
Shame.
go.
Let's
Shame.
see. Knocked out in his living room. Is that a dog behind you, Frank?
It is a dog. She's passed out.
Too much pot.
No, not tonight. That was last night.
Guys,
You know what? I got I did a book I was in a Top Cow book, so I'm in Images System, and
that's cool.
I actually got comps from Frank Martin, the colorist, the other day. They sent them to me by accident.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because he lives in Brazil, so I guess I don't know.
That's hilarious. They're like, oh wow, this is a lot easier than Brazil. Yeah, send him to his new address.
I got like 10 copies of one of his.
Oh,
stuff.
that's hilarious.
Something he did a cover for.
Oh man, my eyes, guys. I keep the sunglasses on because my future's so bright. William Quinton says, "Good show tonight. Thank you. Yeah, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a silly goose time. It's always like whenever I have Frank on, it's just like always the most chill. Like, it's always the most chill conversation. Like it just like I always have questions and then we'll always answer them at some point. But it just happens.
Yeah,
It just happens. It's very
just
chill,
magic.
relaxed. I do feel like we did pot and we're just like, yeah, comics.
Comics, man.
They're so cool. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and one last time, I got to plug. Go check out patreon.com/JohnTalk, where if you subscribe for starting at $2 a month, you can start reading monthly comics starting in July. We're going to be launching The Girl with the Mega Fists. We have new chapters coming out every 2 weeks for that book. So, John Talk, patreon.com/JohnTalk. Not only, by the way, do you get The Girl with the Mega Fist every 2 weeks, but you have access to all these other comics that you can read on the site. It's a password protected area, so only Patreon subscribers get it. So, all right.
The password is password. Just so you know.
No. All right, we got to end the show. Bye.